Have done. You've always been your team play with so much poise, so much control to get 2-0 up. Then the big incident everybody's talking about. I mean, what are your thoughts on the match itself and the red card?
First of all, the first 25 minutes till the red card, we played very good. I think it was the best minutes of our team in this season. So very pleased with that performance. Scored 2 great goals. And then the red card changes everything. But also then you are very disappointed by halftime when you concede 2 such goals, because I think still we were in control, but both goals shouldn't count. First is offside, and the second is a very soft and an embarrassing decision.
We seem to have no luck at the moment. I know you don't use excuses, you never have done, you've always been very honest. We got in front in the second half with a penalty of our own, and your team battled so hard with 10 men. What happened then? Was it the game management? I mean, they seemed so in control again with 10 even. Yeah,
I think so. And so that is disappointing then, that you are still losing the game. And but we have to take it as it has happened. I mean, we can't just bemoan the luck, of course, but you did play so well. Do you take some positives at all from that, from the way your team played before the red card and with 10? Absolutely. We're controlling the game, and as you say, also with 10, we are keeping the ball, and that is positive, and we take that. But especially, I think, till the red card, those moments, those minutes in the game, are we dictating the game, passing the ball around, switching the game, scoring 2 great goals. That is what we take with us. But of course, we're still disappointed. And with me, I think all the fans are very disappointed.
Yeah, well, we wish you a safe trip back to Manchester. See you back there.
Controversial incidents in this game which led to this kind of topsy-turvy back and forward result. Let's bring in Christina Unkel, who is our FIFA rules expert, who we want to talk to about this one. Can I just ask you a general question first off, Christina? Did you feel like the referee had a poor game?
I don't think he had a poor game overall, but I could see why the football world doesn't like some of those calls. And it's the worst feeling in the world to be the official, knowing that you're applying a law that people aren't going to like on that reaction, but knowing that you're going to still have to enforce it. So collectively, I don't think he had a poor game. I think some of the management style he could have done a little bit differently, but ultimately he got the decisions correct, and I know that's going to frustrate people.
All right, so let's go through a couple of these incidents one by one. First off, Marcus Rashford sending off straight red. Peter Schmeichel, I think it was, said terrible decision. Thierry Henry said never a red card. What was your take on what you saw?
2 points to focus on specifically on Rashford's. Taking a look at his left into that ankle position there. The 2 things we need to focus on is one, and I know Carragher mentioned about the speed and the force and just shielding the play, is effectively, does he have the right to put his left foot in there and shield the ball? The answer is yes. But because his foot is stuck into that ground, there doesn't allow that leverage. So when we take a look at red card incidents, the discussion in the language is serious foul play. Does he endanger the safety of the opponent? Once we take away discussions about intent, there is no language of the law about intent. And you take a look at where his foot is, it's planted, studs into the ankle, the foot's trapped, and it goes into it. That does rise to the level of interpretation for us to apply a red card. So was this the appropriate recommendation for VAR for serious foul play for a red card because of the factual elements of this game? The answer is yes. Once you take out intent, which a lot of people are focusing on, you're right, there is no intent by Rashford on this. But because the foot is planted, it's stagnant, and therefore the studs are going into it with that, you don't need a lot of pressure and force at that moment to potentially break an ankle, and that's what leads it into a red card.
Yes or no, would you have given a red?
Yes, we would have to give a red. This is consistent and this is expected.
The referee's position on that, sometimes I understand VAR, a referee can't see it. The referee couldn't have had a better position. He was literally 5 yards away from it, saw it in real time and just waved play on. He then goes to the monitor. And I understand he's probably got no option, but his position is absolutely fantastic. Yes, he doesn't intend to do that. There's no doubt he could be endangering the opponent. For me, a yellow card is suffice there. And the referee's position is fantastic, and nobody else on that pitch thinks there's any danger of being a red card. No one stops, no one appeals. The game carries on, and the referee's position couldn't have been better.
Micah, you look disgusted.
I think, Jamie, you hit it. Oh, go ahead, Micah.
No, I agree exactly with what Jamie said. There's always this talk about putting ex-players within the referees and learning the game. Anyone who's played the game knows full well that that should be a yellow card and not a red card. Obviously, by your law, it comes out a little bit different, but there's no intent there. I mean, he is endangering the opponent a little bit, but I think a yellow would be the right decision there. I can't get in my head why that's a red.
It's 2 no's.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that they're saying. That's how I feel. I think there need to be more players that have played the game at a professional level that are having these discussions with the referees. I'm not a big fan of VAR because it makes the ref look bad if they go and they're able to look at the replay and they get it wrong and then they come out and admit their mistake. It'd be better to not have VAR in the first place. And also, I think it ruins the game for the fans in the sense of not knowing when to celebrate goals. Is it going to be called back? Is it not? I have no problem with goal line technology. I have no problem with the offside technology, but for me, I think VAR runs the game. It slows the game down. It forces players to try to snitch on each other, to hold the ball, to wait, to look at the play again. I honestly don't like it, but like Christina said, I mean, it's a difficult job to have.
I totally agree with what he just said. I put a tweet out and Christina replied to me about VAR. I've always been a big advocate for it because I always think the game should evolve and move forward. And I always think if we're missing big decisions that are costing teams points, we've got to try and, you want the right team to win, I would say. But I actually think, and I want to ask you, Christina, as an official, do you think officials or the game is actually, how much is the game gained from having VAR? And also for you as an official, you don't grow up wanting to be stuck in a room looking at replays. You want to be on a field of play managing a game of football. How is it from your point of view? And as I said, do you think the game has gained enough for us to stick with VAR?
Jamie, I love this question on the overall VAR concept itself. From an official standpoint, having grown up, not needing it, feeling the context, what the players are demanding, what the game expects at that moment, that is the art of officiating, right? You can call balls and strikes, and for the American fans, right, in baseball, balls and strikes in and of itself, and that's factual in basis. But what makes a good referee to a great referee is those who can feel the game. They can sense the game. They can sniff the game. You're right. He's standing right there. It's a yellow card. Many of us would have probably given a yellow card in the instance. But the biggest point here to highlight is that VAR was not introduced by the officials. VAR was introduced by the players, the coaches, the clubs, the leagues. They are the ones who wanted VAR to correct the hands of God, the Maradones, all of those things. That's what VAR was introduced for. And the laws themselves are created by IFAB. Referees don't sit on those committees. It's actually players, coaches that sit on these committees that say, here is what we think should be and should not be a red card. So with all of that put together, that's how VAR is put together. That's how the laws are put together. From an officiating standpoint, we are okay with knowing that there's going to be some errors because we're human. However, the modern day game with the numerous amount of cameras that are there is not okay with there being a margin of error. And until those worlds come together and understand there will be a margin of error, and then those who want 100% certainty, that's where we're always going to have these arguments and conflicts, especially when it comes to handling offenses. Is that subjective, and should that have been sent down?
All right, cool. I guess let's move on to the penalty incidents then, because there were 2 penalty incidents in this one, Christina. One given for Copenhagen at 2-1 Man United, another one given for Man United at 2-2. Can you give us your thoughts on both of those?
One thing I can say is at least the officials are being consistent on the application, right? So here, unfortunately, the deflection argument is going away. So anyone arguing a deflection in the first potential handling, that argument has gone away from the current interpretation. Then you had essentially hitting twice. Here, this is another one that I think is really good up for conversation. However, in the current interpretation, his right arm extended outside of his silhouette and effectively leaving it there. Yes, I understand the jumping components. I get that. But during the current interpretation of handling, I'm not a fan of the current interpretation of handling. I want to put that out there. But this will fall into what they want from a recommendation and an acceptance standpoint. And that's why I said earlier, Kate, that although these were properly given based upon the interpretation and how they want us to enforce it, it's not a fan favorite, and it's the second penalty offense that really gets me. And I would rather put handling, because it's subjective, back into the arms of the refereeing and saying, what is the overall impact in this play in and of itself? Get rid of silhouettes to a certain extent. The argument should be, does this materially impact the play? Yes or no? And that kind of helps the referee get to the guidance of, should we give this as a penalty or not?
Yeah, I agree with what you've actually just said there, Christine. The Harry Maguire one I can almost understand, because when we talk about the silhouette, even though it's close, his arm is out there, so I can understand the red. On the second one, the guy's coming down, he's got his back to play, and his arm, it's his elbow that's just slightly outside the silhouette. It's half a yard away. There's no way. I don't even think any official. I think you've just said yourself there, the second one is not a penalty, virtually, and I don't think anyone in football thinks that is a penalty. No one, and I just see the players as well appealing for it, because they know as soon as a ball hits an arm now in the penalty box, they've got a great chance of getting a penalty. This is never a penalty.
But he actually gets fouled. He actually gets fouled. Fouling him and pushing him. He's got both his hands on him. He's trying to get himself back into the correct position. How is that outside the silhouette? I mean, what do you expect him to do there? I just don't. The game has officially gone.
Okay. Christina, do you enjoy coming in for these weekly arguments? Is it fun for you? I wouldn't call them arguments. I'd call them discussions. And I agree. I enjoy these conversations, because without a voice here at the table, then it's everyone projecting essentially without the voice of the referee. So I'm glad to be here. I know I'm losing my voice a little bit, but it's probably because I'm having arguments on hand. I do really enjoy being with this group, especially when Meek starts laughing. For some reason, I always start laughing. It's just contagious.
Christina, you are fantastic. You've explained you well. Brilliantly, as always, but just that last one I don't agree with because of the silhouette, but fantastic. Keep doing a great job.
Appreciate you, Christina.
Thanks, Meeks. I got your approval.
We'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to go to a break. We're going to bring you more. We're going to talk about the football. We're going to talk about the rest of the action from that game in just a minute. Stay with us. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Kate, Thierry, Jamie, Micah. Protest over? We good?
Let's get on with the show.
Let's get on with the show, everybody. That's me told. Okay, let's go over to Peter Schmeichel. I'm sure he wants to talk to us. Peter, I guess you were listening into the last segment with Christina Unkel and her explanation of those controversial incidents. Your thoughts on what she had to say, your thoughts on the game in general. We're interested.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm frustrated about Manchester United's performance tonight. I just want to say one thing about what Christina said and the explanation. I mean, I love Christina. I think she explains everything very, very good. But I'm a bit tired of, we don't understand now who we are playing this game for. It's for the people who here, the 36,000 here, and not a single one of them reacted to any of those incidents. No one was screaming for a red card. No one was screaming penalty on both situations. And the game was stopped. Nobody knows what goes on. And it kind of kills, what was, I have to say that, a great atmosphere. It just kills it. It kills the enthusiasm for fans who are in the stadium. And I just think, yeah, it's fine. You can explain your way out of it with the letter of the law. But common sense has gone out of football. And VAR, I mean, they've had a bad 2 weeks. I have to say that. We need to rethink that. That is my opinion.
What about just the overall picture for Manchester United? How do you come away from that game feeling about the current state of affairs there?
Yeah, I mean, cruising at 2-0, could have been 3-0. Rasmus Højlund had that chance that was saved by the goalkeeper. Then he had another one which could have been 3-0 again. And then, of course, the red card happened. And well, first of all, this is the first goal. This is something we haven't seen from Manchester United for a long time. Wan-Bissaka obviously been injured, and Anthony has been in this position that Rashford was in here. Now, we haven't seen them work together as a pairing. That leaves that space for McTominay to run into. And it was just brilliant to see that. We were screaming for something like that to happen for weeks. And Wan-Bissaka, people say he's not a good player when he gets a ball. I think he's doing really well. It just doesn't look elegant. But it was brilliant. And of course, Rasmus Højlund scoring that goal. And here we got, the second goal again. A really good run. Well done by Bruno, who played well today. Good pass to Garnacho. A decent save. But that's what you get for running lost causes. As a striker, you keep running, you keep believing that this will happen. You look at Rasmus Højlund here. He never stops. And that's 2-0. And at that point, Manchester United are cruising. And you think it's going to be 3-0 rather than 2-1.
So after that point is when we see Marcus Rashford get the straight red, Man United go down to 10, and then Copenhagen begin to get back into it, Thierry.
Yes, they did. Every time they had a goal, from that moment, they looked like they were going to score all the time. They hit the crossbar before that. Great ball back from Gonçalves for Elyounoussi. And obviously it makes it 2-1. And then at that moment, guys, I think we all thought it was going to be 2-2. Jamie?
Yeah, you said, didn't you, Thierry?
Yeah, I mean, the really poor thing for Manchester United is the actual panic. And what I mean by that is that in this game, they've conceded twice in 4 minutes. Twice. So when the first goal goes in, you know, as experienced players, you need to keep your head, so you need to be on that pitch to calm things down. And before you know it, yes, they get to 2-2. But as Thierry said, the second half was really strange. Copenhagen didn't come flying out the traps, let Manchester United have a lot of the ball. Manchester United find themselves now in front. And then Copenhagen decide to put the afterburners on. Very late goals, Micah.
Yeah, and you must expect that. I mean, Man United, like I said, defended not the greatest, but when you got 10 men, it's always difficult, especially in the Champions League. And then, yeah, I felt, like I said, I felt a little bit for them. But Peter, explain to me what it was like out there at the stadium, you know, when the goals were going in.
No, the atmosphere was fantastic, and what the FC Copenhagen supporters are always giving you is 100%. And of course, I mean, you can talk about a lot of things here, you know, not marking properly and being too deep and being disorganised. You see Bruno's playing everybody on side. Dalot's not looking at Lea behind him, and we've seen this happen a lot of times. I think one key thing that happened in this game that actually played against Manchester United was that Johnny Evans had to come off. What happens when he's not there is a lot of leadership, a lot of talking, a lot of keeping the line, and the discipline disappears. And of course, you know, I won't say this was inevitable, but it was just building up to the fourth goal here. Again, it's not great defending by any means. I don't know why Amrabat thinks that he's going to come in there. He should be with the player here. And, you know, it was just, at the end, it was just Manchester United all over the place. And all fair dues to FC Copenhagen. 2 weeks ago, they missed a great opportunity to beat Manchester United at Old Trafford. They never believed that they were the better team. Today they came on, they were 2-0 down, they never stopped playing, and you know, have come out of this with 3 points. And you know, fair dues, they were the better team today.
Yes, Peter. We'll let you go and get some interviews. Thank you. We appreciate you. Always good to hear your thoughts as well. Go on, you got something to say?
Not a single player has come out yet.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Watch this space. We'll see if somebody does choose to come out. Let's talk about the other game in that group, which is Bayern Munich against Galatasaray. 2 more goals for Harry Kane. Came late, but they came close together. Thierry.
They did, and Galatasaray had a good game, to be fair, but Kimmich put the ball on the head of Harry Kane. I mean, it's still a good finish, but the delivery was on point. Just magnificent from Kimmich, as you can see. Put the ball on the head of Kane, and it's actually like an easy header for Harry Kane at that particular moment. And then I think this is now, I love what Müller does. He's very clever, waits, gives the ball to Mathys Tel, and obviously it's an easy, once again, tap-in. We saw a lot of tap-in tonight, and Kane once again scored for Bayern Munich.
He's having a field day in here. He's enjoyed himself.
Yeah.
He's looking around. He's seeing pace on the wings. He can jump into that number 10. Runners all over the place. And it's just the timing of his run. Perfect goal.
He just makes you think how many... I know he scored a lot of goals in England, but he never played for the top team in England. And he's obviously playing for the top team in Germany, dominating a lot of games, getting a lot more tap-ins, and his record is phenomenal, even in a Spurs ship. You wonder how many they got if he'd been playing in a Manchester City team. He almost went there, or, you know, the Man United teams of old, Thierry's Arsenal team, because...
Liverpool team, when he was flying.
We were never the best.
No, I was talking about the Salah Mane.
Oh,
well, Bayern Munich, the team he's playing for, not only the best in the Bundesliga, also the best in this group by a long distance too. They are through to the knockout rounds. The other 3 in that group, Copenhagen, Man United, Galatasaray, have to sort it out between themselves. Who gets to stay in Europe? Who is officially out? We've got 2 more match days.
But ultimately, a difficult result to take tonight. Yeah, of course. I think we started very well, to be honest. We controlled the game until the red card, and that changed the game, of course.
Yeah, that first 20 minutes, was that some of the best football that United have probably played this season?
Yeah, if you don't look at the result, I think if you only take the 20 minutes into account, I think we did quite well, yeah.
And then when the red card happened, did you just lose your way a little bit that last 15 minutes? What happened?
I think we switched off a little bit. We were not thinking we were going to play a game with one man down. So, of course, it's also giving them a lot of belief. I know how the crowd can also help the team here. So, it gave them a big boost.
You managed to regroup at half-time. You look fairly comfortable with 10 men in that second half. The belief was still very much there.
Yeah, of course, when I think we also did quite good actually in the beginning of the second half. We were composed in the ball. We keep switching the game a lot, and we got the penalty and came in front again. So it's unfortunate we're here with 0 points again.
Yeah, disaster of an evening in the end. Where do United go from here, Paul?
Luton at home Saturday.
Step one.
Step one, yeah. Look, it's going to be very difficult to qualify from this group. We knew that. But like I said before, you can go to these places and get beat. It's not the biggest shock in the world. It's them home games in the Champions League group. As I mentioned before, you have to win them. Get your 9 points, scrape a draw, or something. 10 points gets you through. Now they've got to go to Galatasaray and win, which they probably have to do anyway. So there's nothing much changed. But we know they have more quality, Galatasaray, than Copenhagen do.
Go to Galatasaray and win. Bayern have already top of the group anyway, so that, you can beat Bayern as well. I know it's unlikely, but they can win both games. They need to be positive, need to be optimistic. Haaland has been brilliant today, and I think we need to focus on the Potters, and he was one of them.
Okay.
Crumblies. Once he conceded one, it seems to be another straight away. Now, they had a 2-0 lead, and that happened again. They conceded again in the 83rd minute. Darlow sleeping at the back post. He needs to be aware of where his attacking player is. But then I don't feel there's a character in the team. As I think Robbie said there in commentary, they've got the England captain, they've got Rafa Varane, so much experience in the team. Say, right, come on, OK, we've conceded a goal, relax, make sure we don't concede another one. There doesn't seem to be that organisation, that leader in there to stop that second goal happening, and they paid the ultimate price.
Yeah, well, that is key, isn't it? Because what you have to do in that situation, even if you're down to 10 men with that experience, you've got to manage that situation because there's so much on the line.
Yeah, I mean, look, considering where they were, 2-0 up, that's a game you have to find a way to get a result. Even if you don't lose, you can't afford to lose that game. Things went against them, and we'll get a look at them a little bit later, but obviously the way the group looks now, being bottom of the group, obviously, they put themselves in a really difficult position. Today, I thought for 30 minutes they played great. The first goal on 29 passes, the second one on the counter-attack. After the red card, whether people say it is or it isn't, Scholes and I both don't think it is. But the refs, basically, when they see the still, they think it is, and the game changed from there. And they need to find a way, when they're struggling, when they make mistakes, they've got to find a way to hang in there. Last season, it was an issue. This season came back to bite them again today. But I'm sure there's going to be loads of opinion from the players and from Ten Hag, obviously from all of us. But I do think the whole VAR thing, the last couple of weeks, has gotten a little bit out of control. Everybody looking at all these stills for a long time, in a way, it's taking a little bit away from the game. We want to see the game decided on the pitch rather than on these screens. And at the moment, a lot of these games are being decided on these screens, and I don't think that's what we all love.
Yeah, and we're going to look at those incidents that you mentioned there as well later on and really talk about that in more detail. 9 defeats now in 17 games. Paul, where does this leave Erik Ten Hag? I mean, the pressure has been piling on for weeks now, months now.
Yeah, I still don't feel like there's that much pressure on him. I think he had a good year. I think he's bought a little bit of time in that respect. He's had bad injuries, but as you say, 9 defeats in 17 games is not good enough now. I know managers have been sacked in that second, third year. I don't think we can afford to do it anymore. I think we've got to let this fella go with it. I think he's been good to this point. And I keep going on to this season. I know it's not been quite good. He's got a little bit unlucky tonight as well. You have to say that. With the sending off, I thought, look, they're going to play better teams than Copenhagen, but I thought there was a little bit of fight there tonight. Just lacking still that bit of leadership. Maybe if a Casemiro was in there, then things might have been different. As I say, it's all right conceding a goal. That happens away in Europe. It's not easy to play away in Europe. It's very difficult in any type of ground. It's difficult. But there has to come a point where you say, right, come on, we'll just stay here. Especially with 10 men. We go nowhere. We stay on the edge of our box. We saw what Tottenham did the other night. Totally different to that. You can't do that. And for a long time, they did it. And just a little bit of discipline, a little bit of lack of concentration. Look, tiredness does affect your concentration. You see Darlow's lost concentration there. The next goal was a mistake. It's just that collapsing that's really hurting them at the minute. Once you concede one, it seems like the second one's coming, and they've got to stop that. They can't win games if that's going to happen every week.
Yeah, we're going to look at those incidents because, as you say, there were defensive errors that really sort of opened them up, and they really were architects of their own downfall. What do you make of Ten Hag? Do you think there's pressure on Ten Hag then, Owen?
No, I thought for 20, 30 minutes, considering the pressure and the run-up, they played some good stuff, played some really good football, tried to play off on the back, spacing was better. But obviously, when 9 losses in 17 games, they're not good numbers, and obviously bottom of the Champions League group after 4 games as well. But I'm a Scholesy. They've got to stick by them and build something. Keep sacking managers is not the solution here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take a look at what all of the balance. I've got Paul Scholes and Owen Hargreaves alongside me here in the studio. I mean, it's a game that had pretty much everything. I feel like we've had one of those weeks in the world of football. What did you make of the entirety of it, Paul?
Well, it was an exciting game to watch. The result in the end wasn't what United wanted. I thought it was a little bit strange approach from Copenhagen, to be honest with you. I thought they'd have really gone for United tonight, who, coming leading into this game, have looked really vulnerable. But they seemed to set off him. As Owen said, the first 30 minutes, I thought United were really good as I've probably seen this season. They get the 2-goal lead, and then obviously the game probably changes from Marcus' sending off.
Yeah, Scholesy just nailed it. They were really good, Manchester United, for the first 30 minutes, up until the second goal and then the red card, and then the game completely changed. And I thought the crowd got more into the game. They put the ball in the box, put United under pressure. But there's some huge moments in the game, and there'll be a lot of controversy. I'm sure Erik ten Hag will be furious with the red card from Marcus Rashford. But we've seen that. We also saw something similar, obviously, with Tottenham, Chelsea. A lot of penalties and VAR, and it just felt like that was another one of those games. And whether you love or hate VAR, I just think it's becoming maybe a bigger part of the game than we'd probably all
Lots
love.
of questions, aren't there, over VAR in every single game that we seem to see at the moment. Here's one question. Let's take a look at this point. This is in the second half. So at half-time, it was 2-2. United were 2 goals up. Copenhagen came back after the sending off of Marcus Rashford. And then this is a moment where United are awarded a penalty. Lucas Lerger, the Copenhagen captain, deemed to have committed handball here. Yes or no, Paul Scholes? Take your United hat off here. Yes or no?
No, I didn't think it was a penalty. I thought it was unlucky. I know we're showing there, it possibly comes off Harry Maguire's fingers there, so is it an handball? First, yeah, before it hits their lad. But that lad isn't facing the ball, he's jumping for the ball. You see 3, people talk about having your hands in the air, you see 3 players there, they're all jumping, they've all got their hands in the air, you have to.
It's a natural motion,
You've got
isn't
no
it?
choice.
Yeah.
I think where the confusion comes into it is, if this is England, I don't think it's a penalty. I think we've seen instances like that where they haven't given the penalty. It needs to be aligned across Europe, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the lads have done brilliant there, just with the little zoom in on it. Hits Harry Maguire's hand first. I don't know why the VAR don't get those pictures. Yeah. But it is incredibly harsh. I thought the Harry Maguire one in the first half was soft. That was even softer. And in a way, the Champions League is so amazing. The football is so amazing. These players are so brilliant. The game shouldn't be slowed down and zoomed in and stopped and all these stills. The reason the game is the best that it is, and the reason these guys are brilliant football players and not playing at Hyde Park with their mates, is because of the speed of the game. We're slowing the game down to a still on a screen. That's not what this game is. And, whether it's the red card or these handballs, we're going to have to let the game be the game and let it played at speed. If people make massive mistakes, fine. If something goes wrong, fine. But there's moments in that game today that don't need to be slowed down to a still.
That's where I always hated the clear and obvious thing. There's no clear and obvious mistakes there, is there? I don't think. So why even look at it? And as Owen said, when you're slowing things down and you're stopping things, showing stills of legs that don't look great because his studs are there, that was totally accidental from Marcus. If you went back to our days playing, and don't like doing this, but if there's stills, the slow motion of tackles, there'd be millions of sending offs. It can't keep coming into the game and spoiling the game, which it is doing.
OK, well, we can look at that red card incident because arguably this is the one that turned the game on its head. In the 42nd minute of the game with United 2-0 up, I mean, you've just said here, it's you know, there's a natural pace and a natural rhythm to the game. And Owen, you know, when they're looking at these images, that's what the referee and the VAR are making their decisions on.
Resh, the referee is a yard away. The first thing he sees is that still, right? They've sent him over. Bear in mind, he's reffing the game. He's a yard away and he didn't give it. He saw it.
Yeah.
So it's a foul. The only issue I have with it is it's a little bit high. The reason it's high is because Marcus is not looking at him, because he's trying to look at the ball and he's trying to protect it. His arms up, his foot's up. Zidane used to do that. If you used to go tackle him, he used to put his foot up so you'd run into his thigh. That's all Marcus tried to do. But because he's not looking, he's a little bit high. But if you look at the still, it looks like a red. It's not a red. It's a yellow. It's a little bit clumsy. And I just think that's where the game changed. Not trying to, you know, not as a Manchester United fan, but these little they can't look at these things as stills. Look at it in real time first, and then look at the next angle and then the next angle. I think when you look at it like that, you're going to go red. But in real time, it's just not. Anybody that's played the game at a high speed is going to know that happens.
That's what I said at our time. His understanding of what Marcus Rashford is trying to do. He's not looking at the play for the start. As Owen said, Zidane done it millions of times. There's loads of players that do it, and you know they're going to do it, and sometimes it hurts. It does hurt, but you know they're not trying to do you. Marcus has accidentally stood on his leg. He's thinking he's planting his leg down and protecting the ball. Brilliant, that's what I need to do. But unfortunately, his leg's there, and he wasn't looking at him. We saw the picture. He was not looking at the time, so we know it's not a nasty challenge, and it's totally accidental.
Yeah, look, the noises around VAR just don't go away, do they? Certainly in the last week that we've had with performance in the Premier League as well. But, you know, going back to that moment with Harry Maguire and Lerger, it was a moment, wasn't it, when Bruno Fernandes stepped up, took the penalty, and it looked as though actually United were on the brink of an incredible away performance with 10 men.
Look, they played really well. They attacked really well. They looked like they were going to score goals. All the attacking players look good. Garnacho on the left, Rashford on the right-hand side. Højlund looks brilliant, especially when he can attack space. Bruno is brilliant as a 10. You know, stop playing him on the right-hand side. He's brilliant as a number 10. The balance was better of the team, and it looked like they were going to go nick it, even though they had 10 men. And you'd have to credit the players. You know, they played really well, but well, like we saw in the Tottenham Chelsea, there was so much more to come, even at 3-2.
Yeah, well, look, just as at the end of the first half, it looked like United's problems were just self-inflicted. I mean, look at how they give this one away, Paul. It's hard to watch, isn't it?
This is terrible from Wan-Bissaka. That pass back to his goalkeeper is shocking. He actually does well to half control it. Do you know what? I'm not 100% sure that's out as well. But I don't think we've got any picture of that. I don't think it's out. But that's happened now. You recover. And unfortunately, Darlow, he does not once look at his man. Now, as a full-back, I'm sure lads' heads are on a pivot, spinning around all the time. Where's my man? Where's my man? He can give him the excuse he's not playing on his normal side. But he should be aware, he has no idea that man is there. And as a defender, you need to be aware of that danger. And he wasn't, and it's cost United.
Yeah. If you play there as a fullback, that's one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
The ball's on the other side, you're always looking at the ball. And if the attacker moves a little bit, it's difficult. He just gets in behind him, he gets in the wrong position, and that's the one thing I'd say. I know it's his man, but it's easy to lose sight of the player that is in that position, and it's a brilliant ball, and he just attacks it really well.
Yeah, well, look, it got even worse, and it only took 4 minutes for that to happen because United conceded again, and this proved to be the winner for Copenhagen. And again, it was self-inflicted.
Yeah, as I said, your two most experienced players playing it across the back. If that pass to Varane is ridiculous. Now, Varane has to deal with it. To deal with it is not the right way. He's got to launch that up the pitch. These are two experienced players. They just conceded a goal. I said, you can't console. You might be there for that, to come down for that knockdown for the second ball. But there's so much space there. Again, Darlow's doing nothing. He needs to be against him. But don't discredit the finish. The amount of times you see them shots, they fly into the stand. He's just thinking, get this ball down, hit the target. And you have to say, we've sent to on before, there's a big space to Onana's left, and look, give lad credit, it's a good finish.
Is it naivety? Is it a lack of understanding? Is it a lack of quality? I mean, what is leading to mistakes like that? Because when you're in those high-pressure moments, the stakes are so high, you know what's on the line. You're trying to secure a place in the next round of the Champions League. You've got to get a result here. How do you give those mistakes away?
Well, they're trying to play when they don't really need to play. You know, the Wan-Bissaka, when you play actually really well, he just overhits the back pass to Onana. One thing snowballs into the other. Maguire doesn't really need to play that ball to Varane. The square ball in there, you know, a 3-3, it's not really on, but it goes really bad. And that's the thing they got to fight against. You know, football it's happened to all of us. We've all been in a moment where it's difficult. You got to fight against it. You got to clear your lines. You got to get up the pitch. You got to play in the areas that you can. That Wan-Bissaka one overhits it, he'll know. Harry Maguire, don't square that. You know, Varane probably didn't really fancy it. And then all of a sudden, all these little things snowball, and then in the end, it affects the confidence. So it was self-inflicted, the third and the fourth goal. And they got to fix these mistakes, because even a team like Copenhagen, they'll punish you.
Yeah, and ironically, the man who scored the goal is 17-year-old Rooney Barge.
The wrong Rooney.
The wrong Rooney. He's 18 next week, and he has this new record of being the youngest player to score against Manchester United in the Champions League. It all turned out to be ironic, but as you say, it affects confidence, and this is what's happened. We're seeing an erratic United side. Can't really seem to get themselves together on the pitch. There's no cohesion in the way that they're playing. 9 defeats now in 17. I mean, it is just going to snowball, isn't it? Because mentally it's going to affect them.
He's playing with confidence, actually. What's cost him is 2 5-10-minute spells in each half. Has really gone against them tonight. I thought other than that, they were decent. They played OK. They played with a bit of confidence, scored a couple of good goals. Obviously a little bit lucky with the penalty.
But are they able to recover from moments like this where it does go wrong?
Yes, they have to.
Do you know what? You can always go to these...
We're looking forward to the game. I'm Derek Ray, joined here on the commentary position as always by Lee Dixon. And every reason to believe we're in for an entertaining match here. It is FC Copenhagen versus Manchester United.
Yeah, the talking is over, the game plans are set. Now it's up to the players to go out and earn their corn. There's nothing the managers can do once the first whistle goes. I think, Derek, we're in for a cracker.
And they have possession again. Opportunity in the wide area. Can he play it in? And a goal! Not wasting much time today. They strike first.
Well, Derek, the keeper's not going to want to see the replay of this. Completely caught out at his near post. Shocker.
Well, let's have another view of that goal. So on they go again, and that really should shake up United. Can they find a response now? Well, that's a splendid piece of challenging. Rashford. Bruno Fernandes has it. An incisive pass. And Cavani's in. Frantic action from one end to the other. They weren't ahead for long. And this match is level again.
Well, look at this again. It's all about being in the right place at the right time. And from that sort of range, there's only one winner.
A chance to revisit the goal. Even Steven, one apiece in this match. Kamil Wilczek. Zeka. And it's a quality pass. And after the cross, defensive action called for. Simple save, really. Maguire. Scott McTominay. Cavani. Here is Fred. Oh, United had the ball, but not anymore. Good-looking ball. There could be a chance now. An opportunity with the header, but not troubling the goalkeeper at all, Lee.
Well, I say one thing, technique, and he didn't have any.
Maguire.